What up?
Fernando AG.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
It was John and closed that one.
Just stop. Don't.
Well, that's why the echo was touch. They can't unmute.
To Adam Gugino, we have been rocking and rolling since early this AM. There are ecosystem mergers at play. There is co-creation of magic, of simplicity, of reduction of friction all over the place. What would you say is your one takeaway since we've been on the phone since 6:30 this morning already? If you had to narrow it down to like one sentence, what would that be for you, AG?
Fun Friday became a Zeus Energy decision-making Friday. World-changing decision-making.
And for everyone, when there's like, I hear Zeus decision making, does that mean like yelling, threatening? Does that mean like condescension? What does Zeus decision making like mean to Adam Gugino?
Certainty, heart-centered, determination, and just knowing your outcome.
That's amazing. And what would you say to the fine folks who are in like contemplation land, tyranny of how, deciding, thinking, figuring out how would you support them into stepping into their 9.5 of certainty, of heart-centeredness? How do you step into your Zeus energy, like for yourself, not only in decisions with other people? How would you advise that they step into their Zeus decision-making for themselves?
I would understand what the outcome is and what is at stake. Because when you realize what is at stake, not stepping into Zeus energy and it is showing that you are also not in your goddess energy as well, because ultimately your Zeus energy is driving home the goddess energy. I hear you, Sean.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, guys, and happy Fun Friday. It is fun. There's like snow at the beach. Like, that's fun.
Awesome.
And yes, stepping into fun, goddess, Zeus, aspirational energy is present. You know what? For fun, is there anybody who wants to come forward? Last night we had the what is this program now, Adam Gugino? This program is two things. What is it?
It is math and heart.
And heart, of course. Heart and math. Math and heart first now. Yes. Math and heart.
Yeah. Amazing. Math and heart. And if you feel, let's do a show in the chat. If you feel that you have been showing up with more heart, throw a heart emoji or write the word heart in the chat. If you've been showing up with more math, right, put math in chat. And let's see what we start getting there. Heart and math. And then anybody want to come up and share some of their takeaways from last night who did not share last night already? So who would like to share some of their takeaways of anybody? Let's see if anybody would like to come forward. Fernando. And then let's also get ready to rock and roll with let's go with this. Fernando, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, we're bringing anybody forward or no?
Checking out the team. Ruth Carmazon, Dr. Saima, Erica Rose Siegel had her hand up as well. So we have
Let's
our
go,
three.
Dr. Saima.
All right, so Dr. Saima, let's bring her up. And Sean, for final and for historical record, I'm showing the ridiculous, which is the craziness of my hair as I wear my purpose is sweatshirt from Kavan Massenberg, as this hair might not be with us next week. So I wanted to throw it in for historical record.
Well, Fernando, I am very proud of you. And first of all, I love, honor, and respect and appreciate your hair completely. And I am proud of you and your sacrifices, commitment to where we're going and what we're doing, and the complexities of some of it. So what is present for you around those concepts?
What's present for me, the thing that popped for me is joy. I am grateful. I am not confused on where I am, on where we are, on where we're going. And, as much as the hair has much meaning, March reaches 2 years. I couldn't think of a greater moment, a greater reason, to transition, to move forward, to recreate, whatever story I attach to it. To me, it's a recreation, and couldn't be any happier than my own girlfriend, Martha, is going to cut it. So that has a lot of meaning as well. So I'm certainly grateful. And Sean, I love your 5D speaking. As I knew this moment would eventually come. I battled the frame for a while, and I am grateful that this weekend that'll happen.
Yeah, and what is that frame? I mean, so we can speak into all things, like what was the frame, what is the frame, like what's there for you, and this is it's Fun Friday, and everything that we do in life is a series of opportunities, gifts, decisions, and sacrifices. It's not true that in every minute we choose to do one thing and we don't do another thing. Like we're choosing to do something right now and not something else. And thank you for that. It's an honor. It's a privilege. I think that's a wise and prudent investment in us, as I think it's our investment every day, and the sacrifice we make is a wise and prudent investment in you as well. So thank you for that. So
Amen.
what's the and what? Let's go mute, guys. We got whatever is happening right now. Chaz.
I have something covering it. Right
Baba
now.
Booey, we need some technical support. Thank you. So Fernando, what's the frame? So this is a good teaching about frames, like a good share, a good bring people aware of, like for you out there, like what is frame? We say like what is a frame? What is it? Right? And so Fernando, like what are we talking about when we say what is the frame?
Yes. So when we're talking about what is the frame, let's go with short definition. It is it is a frame of thinking, a frame of perception, and the frame of perception, which is, a reality I've also experienced, know, believe, and respect, is that, how I'm currently showing up in the world with long hair isn't the most professional, could be received as many things. Dolph thought I was 21 years old. I am not. I'm 29 years old. So all those things matter. As I've had the privilege of being less on camera and more, behind the scenes doing what we're doing proudly, I was like, you know what, there's never going to be another chance to have long hair. And, I can tell my future son or daughter that, dad had long hair one day. I can check that box. I feel joyful about it. And yes, the frame was, Fernando, you got to cut your hair. I was like, I don't know if I have to cut my hair. And we have reached new base camp where it is now a must. And I couldn't be any more grateful for it.
Yeah. And just for context, because I don't know if it's a must, right? Thank you for saying that. But why do you think it's worth it? Like, what are you giving up and what are you gaining? Like, what's there? What are you giving up and what are you gaining?
Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm giving up anything besides something I already accomplished. And what I'm gaining is the opportunity to stand for you, to stand for Adam, to stand for this movement, to stand for myself and everything that we've been working on for these last 2 years. And every single micro distinction matters. So I certainly don't feel like I'm giving up anything. On the contrary, I feel like I'm gaining much, much more.
Yeah. And what do you think, in light of the client avatars, the people that we're creating relationships with initially, right? Because here's the story. Eventually, you can pretty much do anything you want, right? And that's something to be mindful of. So, there are people with very long hair that have lawyers, financial people, and accountants chasing them, pursuing them all over the place. And can you think of any person with long hair that financial people, accountants, lawyers are chasing, Fernando?
Can I think of any? Not top of mind, no.
You can't think of anybody on the planet. You can't name one person on the planet that has a male with long hair that accountants, financial services people, and lawyers are chasing. I bet you when I give you a category, you're going to name a bunch.
Well, help.
Okay. Music.
So when you think, okay, so names would be like Richard Branson.
Yeah.
well, that's not music, but that's someone with, okay, so now I understand. So yes, someone like Richard Branson. Yeah, I can think of many artists. There's like certainly many, yes, certainly in that realm, of course.
Start naming them. Axl Rose.
Yes,
Tommy
Adam,
Lee.
this is where I tag you in for help.
Yeah, don't tag me in on long hair.
Elton John. I'm Chad. The Chad is helping me right now. Tommy Lee,
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy Osbourne. There you go.
Keep it coming. Jason Momoa. I don't know who that is either. Jesus.
Dee
Bob
Snyder.
Marley. Who?
I love Bob Marley. Amazing.
Yes.
Dee Snyder. Right.
Willie Nelson. Fabio.
Yeah.
David Gonzalez popped up in the chat.
That's funny. Howard Stern.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Howard Stern.
Love it.
Yes.
All right.
This
Love
is great.
it.
Thank you
Love
for
you
help.
guys out there. That's extraordinary. On Fun
Bob
Friday.
Ross. That's funny.
Yeah. So, Fernando, how do we make this deal?
Go.
When lawyers, financial services people, and accountants are chasing you, you can grow your hair down to your waist. That's like a fair deal.
That is a fair deal.
And so let's try to make that a reality in 12 months.
Amen.
Who doesn't want Fernando to have hair down his waist if he feels like it in 12 months, right? Versus today, if you're on an agreement call with a lawyer from a 1,000-person law firm and you have long hair, like it's not insurmountable, but what might be the initial blink impression? Like, right, Blink is by Malcolm Gladwell. What might be, so let's say I go on, I talk about 2 top 100 national jury verdicts, we do the show, we have fun energy, but we drop in the magic trick. It's like, wow, like 125-person law firm, like these big stages, right? What happens? What do you think might be, like if we're on a Zoom call or there's like a huddle and there's that, like, what do you think they're expecting and what might occur in, for that lawyer in that split second in the beginning with that? How about this? Not even on a phone call, just they jump onto a Monday night call. What might be the story they create? That's a frame. What might be the frame they step into? What could it be?
Look at these, free-wilding young cats, not taking life too seriously, certainly not professional, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Like maybe hustlers, like you said, maybe like, I'm not into like Burning Man. Like, what is this? Like,
as Bella would say, ayahuasca.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
5-MeO-DMT-ness is present.
And don't forget the full sleeve tatted guy. That's like also on him. So he's that's adding.
Yeah. And if you do notice, I'm intentional. Like when I'm showing up on the Real Raw, I do not wear the same thing I wear on the Huddle in the morning. Right? Because my impression is that my reality is that for that Real Raw, that first impression should look and feel what they would be perceiving as the most professional facing vantage point into what we're doing. Right? And that makes sense?
It does. And you know what? I never realized it. And you're right. You don't wear the same thing. I never realized that.
Yeah. And every time before the Monday night call, I also usually get ready for a second time. I refresh the energy. I get set. Like I put on my best beingness of like professional on stage in front of 5,000 peopleness. And you go, oh, so we're not as respectful in the Huddle. No, the Huddle's the gym. Like we're in the gym in the morning. Like we're getting ready to go. Like this is where we're pumping iron. We're cranking reps. Like we're together. We're like, let's go. This is family. This is inside. This is like LBI. Like this is what the Huddle is. That's the container. That's the frame. And when people step into it, they're going to feel that energy. And we're not telling people to bring people here as their first entry point into Unblinded. This is ours. And we haven't quite closed it to the public yet. We have to, finalize the tech around that and make final decisions on it. But this is like, we no longer ever tell people bring people here because it's not in service of you and it's not in service of them. Right? It's just not. We're deep in here. Like this is for the ecosystem, the people in the programs. It is not the place for people to start. our entry points for people to start Monday nights. They are now Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Right? It's a whole different context. So context equals frame. And what that means is it's like a story. Like, what's the container? What's the thing? What is this? Like, what is this thing? And remember that everybody else has their own context. And we have to align context with align frame. For some people that come on the real raw, they're like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. This is incredible. Like, they totally get it. But we've been thinking about it for a long time. Other people might be like, well, I'm not really sure. So it's like a Zoom call and I'm like talking about myself. What? Right? It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make it not unbelievably valuable. They just don't get the context. Like when I walk into a Tony Robbins room, I didn't understand the context in the beginning. And I didn't understand that each event sold tickets to another event and a higher price program by delivering massive value. I did not understand that context. Now I do, so I understand each part of it, and I understand its value and its sequencing. I just didn't have context. Some people, when they see something start getting sold, they freak out and like, wait, I paid to come to something where I'm going to get sold more stuff? That's, ridiculous. That's crazy. Like, their context is different. And then their context can either get realigned by the speaker or not. But there's context. Like when I started working at the big law firm, my context was work hard, do the right thing, and you will receive increases in pay commensurate with how hard you work. I had an incorrect context. Like that was just incorrect. Like working hard did not equal future partnership and future raises. What equaled future partnership and future raises was bringing in business. That was the fastest, easiest, simplest way. I had no context for that. I didn't even understand it was a thing. I had no context of value exchange in the professional and business world. Right? So these are just examples of context. So like there's a context for who you are in your family. Like you have a context for it and the other people around you have a context for it. Like my mom's context is I am not funny. Maybe that's your context for me. My context for my mom is she is not funny. My context for a relationship is she's beautiful, heart-centered, loving, and wonderful. And we, however our context was originally framed and maintained, we do not find one another funny. My mom's friends think she's hysterical. I had friends in high school who said I was the funniest person they ever met. And our contexts for each other are different. Not everybody thinks that about me, and not everybody thinks that about my mom. Because we have different people have different contexts for me, and I for them, and you for me, and people for you. And so what context means is like we're present to, right? And context is our access to level 5 listening, our mastery. Because what we're really present to as we're communicating is each word. And I had a great session on this with somebody yesterday. And if you want to put your name in the chat, we talked about context. We talked about each word, reframing, right? Reframing people's listening. So like Fernando, if I go, hey, you know what, dude, I can't wait to go to South Beach and hit the clubs. Like, I just can't wait. And I say that, and we just met. What is your context for me? And that's all you know. You saw me in the event, and it's the first, hey, Fran, what's up, man? Hey, how you doing? Oh, where you been lately? I've been down South Beach. Oh, man, I can't wait to get back to South Beach and hit the clubs.
It says
What
a
is
lot
your
about,
context? What is your context for me?
It says a lot about where your priorities are, what matters to you, currently where you are energetically, and what you
tell me what do you conclude? First word.
I'm like, he's just a player, probably doing bad things, hanging around with bad people, and that's my
player.
Like,
what else?
way of thinking. Huh?
Player. One word is player. Next word.
Player is junkie.
Junkie. No, I'm saying like so. I say hit clubs in South Beach. First word is player. What's your second word?
Let's go with party animal.
Party animal. Third word.
let's go with living life.
Okay. So are those things that magnetize you towards somebody?
No, not at all.
Okay. So context is a subcomponent of your HUI. Like it is, so it's a new indispensable element, number 11, right? And context is what gives rise to your HUI. Like you have a story about who you are for yourself, and every single person that encounters you has a context for you. Like you might be a potential client. You might be somebody for them to pick up and hit on in a bar, right? You might be both. You might be smart, talented, skilled. You might be selfish, taking, manipulating. But people have a context for you. And understanding that rises your mastery, both in your level 5 listening of people, as well as your access to conveying your HUI. So when Fernando, goes on the Zoom, it's like, oh, he's setting his hair, his words, his being, his dress, mine, Adam's, everyone's front facing, Bella, everybody is setting the context, right? In every way. And like, somebody recently reached out and was like, sometimes I just like you to get directly to content and whatever, and, skip all of the other fun stuff. And then other people are like, I love the fun stuff. Let's have more. So when you're front facing towards a group, part of the rise of your master, your HUI, is realizing that the context receiving you, right? The context of the group is not going to be fully aligned. You go to a Bruce Springsteen concert and Bruce talks about the song 41 Shots, which was about the shooting of Amadou Diallo, who was unarmed and pulled out his wallet. And like a lot of police officers, and I have friends that are police officers, will get up and leave when that song comes on. Now, my context for that song is not an anti-police song. That's my context. My context is actually, it's an incredible song that actually leans into the complexity of being a person of color in America and being shot and killed, and how much easier it is for that horror to happen. And also, I hear in that song 41 Shots empathy for police officers as well. And I've heard interviews with Bruce, and he claims the same. So my context for that song is different than police officers, and it's different if somebody else is sitting there who in that moment is holding up a lighter and a flame and is deeply moved to their soul. So you as speaker, you as leader must realize that you don't have to, but if you're going to accelerate, it will be really valuable to realize, to be present to, you will, no matter what you try to do, you will be received differently by every person because every person is different and unique. And the more intentionally you speak into different people's listening to create alignment and cause leadership by finding the common ground that unites and helping people step into that context, the more successful you will be. Now, if Fernando, let's go back to Fernando, if the answer was, listen, this is part of my religious belief structure that I have long hair, and then the answer would be, that should be the second sentence out of his mouth, or not second sentence, it should be early in the conversation, or it should be deeply embedded in his HUI then. And his hair should never be caught to violate his own fundamental principles and beliefs, because then that would be fundamentally depriving him of his true HUI. And so, and in fact, it could rise his identity, that he leans into who he is and what he's about in the world, right? So the context for this is not cut your hair. to like conform, because we are definitely not conformers.
Mhm.
It is balancing, right? It is balancing the mission that you're on, and how your other decisions fit into it. Never about conforming. If you're doing a real raw, you're not asked to do it for conformity. We say build a speaking platform. We're not saying to build it for conformity. We're saying do it because it works if you want more money, less time, more magic. And don't try to not conform just to have the HUI of non-conformity. And the first seminar I ever went to of Tony Robbins in late 97 or early 98, I always say that. I'm going to put a flag in the ground and call it late 97. And I don't know that it's accurate, but I don't like saying both. It's like approximately late 97, right? With the competitive edge seminar. In that seminar, there was a Stanford study he cited that broke people in different categories. And one of the categories was socially conscious. And to be socially conscious, you had to achieve a certain level of financial success. And you had your number one outcome was to be unique. In our current terminology, that would be significance. So you made a certain amount of money and you drew your significance from being unique. So one of the challenges that we would face as a company in speaking into, hey, this is what you should be doing, if we're speaking into folks whose significance is high, people whose significance is high causes them to want to have nonconformity. And so just because you're saying to do it or we're saying to do it, even if it's true and makes complete sense, you will be speaking to the listening of people who will try to reject it, debate it, and debunk it out of their own significance, their significance being formed by being contrary and being unique. So your awareness to context is critical, and it shapes your level 5 listening, realizing that each sentence you say is recreating the context of people's listening. That's a lot. And we're definitely not there for most of us yet. But if you think you're speaking to one person where you're in that audience collectively, you're incorrect. You're speaking to every single different person there, and then having to find buckets of unity and global unity. And your mastery as a speaker, because somebody said to me the other day, hey, where can I get the best speaker training? I'm like, yeah, here. And so you're speaking into the listening of everybody and what unifies them and unites them. And that's why Martin Luther King, for example, was so powerful, and he had much broader reach than Malcolm X. So Malcolm X said in his earlier life, white people are the devil, right? And I'm not saying that he didn't have a right to be really furious, irate, and calling out atrocities. He did. I'm simply speaking into his message was certainly not unifying everyone. Later in life, he did, and most people, including me, think he was murdered for it because he had a message of absolute unity after he visited. He went on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. But Martin Luther King stood in the space, at least in his I didn't meet him, I didn't know him, I didn't know his inner heart, but at least his public-facing voice was one of absolute unity. And so that would cause generally more alignment. Well, of course, when he was speaking into the listening of people that were racially biased, they would despise him. And their listening of him would be distrust, would be framing a different context. And these are just all different examples of context setting. So my context going in and talking to Dr. Simon in a second, let's get Dr. Simon on muted team, is like our context for this program is it is a program of math and heart based on a formula of influence, self, and process mastery to give rise to your money, time, and magic. That is our context. It's math and heart to rise your money, your time, and your magic, whatever is your top, prioritization and interconnective prioritization. And there's a formula, a process, self, and influence mastery to do it.
Sean,
The
it's
Dr.
9:06.
Sima,
It is
What?
9:06. It is 9:06. Not sure if you want to bring Dr. Simo over or just letting you know it's 9:06.
yeah, you know what? Actually, let's go. That is awesome. Guys, you could interrupt me if I go long. Thank you. Because once I want to get Integrity over to Clubhouse at 9. So
Sean,
let's pause there. Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, and it just might be optics that you don't know. You could actually take this conversation and bring it right to Clubhouse if you just log in on your iPhone. And people do that all the time so that they can hear this message. So if someone has the ability to take your phone, or if you can, I'm not.
Right, you know what, Erica?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. By the way, really, thank you. So that is a huge access. We will get to it, but I want to get there now. So for Monday, we'll have that. Just text Chaz on that. Tell him what you just said. Thank you.
I just
That's awesome.
did.
Appreciate it. Awesome. All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, let's jump. We'll see you on Clubhouse.